Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's get started.
Straight from New York, yo, this handsome man,
You are now tuned in to Aljo the Funk Master. Watch your grill, you'll get knocked out cold fast. And talking shit, now we talking facts. Where the mountain off the back, you in trouble, came to burst your bubble. I don't shelter punches, they find home on your mind about a double. This the weekly scraps. You don't need a map, GPS, I'm right here to lead it that. The world doesn't know it needs, but I grow disease, planet fuck a name and the fame. Only legacy remains. Remember the name, Aljamain Sterling.
It ain't safe,
Motherfuckers.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the weekly scraps. Episode 170, UFC 273 is upon us this weekend. We got a big fight card, and of course, sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. So make sure you guys go check out those odds, and make sure you use my promo code Funkmaster. So go check those guys out. This is a special event, obviously, for multiple reasons. I'm back in action. The boy, the kid, Chimaev, Chimaev. So it's been a long year, and obviously April is gonna make 13 months. So I'm just glad to finally be back. I feel blessed, man. I couldn't be happier to just get back to competition. So thank you guys who've been the true supporters by my side this entire way on this recovery path. You know, 2 surgeries back to back where I was out for a year. Not fun. You know, you're obviously not making money. It's a big mental stress, and people start to talk, you know. So I got to remind the world who I am and what I'm capable of, and I can't wait to do that on April 9th. So make sure you guys tune in. And for my haters, you guys are just extra motivation, you know. So at the end of the day, thank you guys as well. Whether you love me or you don't, and you don't like me, that's it's all good, man. So make sure you guys tune in, because either way, you guys are in for a very, very good show. This is a special card. Now, before we get into the card, just a quick recap on my fight week. Last week, doing a lot of training, getting the weight down. We did our last hard sparring session on Thursday with Marab and Dennis, trying to dial in the finer details that we want to make sure that we have, and just make sure the mind is right. We had a great sparring session to cap off the training camp, and everything's looking good from where I'm sitting. You know, I want to say each round we pretty much had a finish or a fight-ending sequence. So everything's pointing in a very, very good direction. And I thank these guys, Marab, Dennis, Delemy, Steve, all the guys that have been around helping me, push me, Nick Ronan, Jason Rao, a lot of good guys, you know. So to have all these high-level guys around, it's a blessing. So I know I'm well prepared, and I can't wait to go out there and remind people who I am and the things that I've done in this division and UFC bantamweight history, and to just remind everybody that I'm still amongst one of the best, and I am the best guy in this division. So Vegas, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you odds makers, you guys got it wrong. We'll start with the first fight which is the main event, not the first fight. We're not going to start with the first fight. Alexander Volkanovski versus Chang Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, stepping in for Max Holloway, which should have been a trilogy fight between Volkanovski and Holloway, but obviously it's not happening. Chang Sung Jung is going to be the one stepping in there. This is going to be a good fight, I think. I think people are kind of sleeping on this one. They're writing Chang Sung Jung off way too early, and I think if people go back through history and look at his performances, they've all been pretty spot on. The one with Brian Ortega, I think that was a little bit of a weird one, because I think he expected a different kind of Ortega coming off of his loss to Max Holloway. I think he expected him to come out and fight differently, and Max kind of gave I don't want to say a blueprint, because Ortega is, you know, obviously not the best striker, but he's got good hands. He got good power, as we've seen in the past, and his submission specialist, it just makes him one of those guys who is very dangerous at any point of the fight. So I think with that one, I think Korean Zombie expected a different kind of fight, and Ortega was able to make adjustments tailored to that type of matchup and look spectacular and had a great performance. And after that, you saw the Korean Zombie come back and make a big adjustment in his fight with Dan Ige. So this is a good one. It's a battle of adjustments at the highest level. Anything can happen. For DraftKings Sportsbook, Volkanovski is a minus 760 favorite. The Korean Zombie, Chang Sung Jung, is a plus 525 dog. So these are all live dogs to me. If you ask me, these are all picks where the underdogs can come out on top. So It's a fist fight. We know anything can happen. We've seen crazier things happen, and this is why we go in there and mix it up. Volkanovski is to me, one of the best guys, if not the best guy right now, though. I think a guy who uses the feints the way he does, sets up his inside leg kicks, sets up his takedowns, and it's just that subtle step that he does where he's shifting, and he's going left, he's going right, and you don't know which way he's going to go, and it looks like he's going in for a takedown, and he's coming up with the uppercut, or he's coming inside with a hard stepping jab. You overcommit, he takes you down, and I think that's what makes him so good, because he's able to blend everything in and keep you on your toes, keep you guessing. I think for Korean Zombie, obviously the key for victory for him is going to be trying to get the knockout, but I do think his resume as a grappler, as we've seen with the Volkanovski and Ortega fight, he's got caught in 2 tough submissions that he was able to get out of. But I think Zombie's ground game is definitely underrated, and I think he can exploit some things being the taller, lankier guy. We've seen him hit a twister in the UFC before, which is like, who does that, right? So I do think this is an opportunity for him to shock a lot of people and to him to get a chance to be Korea's first UFC champion. And who knows? I do think Volkanovski is probably the pick here, but to completely write off Korean Zombie as if he doesn't have a chance. I mean, we've seen him put some good guys away. We know he has nasty uppercuts, really good power, and his ground game. He submitted Dustin Poirier with a Darce choke. So if you go back and look at his resume, he's a well-rounded fighter. I think he fell in love with chasing the knockouts. If he goes in and mixes it up the way he did against Dan Ige, looking for the takedowns, getting back control, that's a very dominant and tight back control that he had against a black belt in Dan Ige. So if he can do that and surprise Volkanovski that I'm not just coming here to bang and put on a fight in the night performance, I think it's a great opportunity for him to shock the world, so to speak. Now, again, DraftKings Sportsbook has that at minus 760 for Volkanovski. The Korean Zombie is a plus 525. Now, of course, coming in hot with the co-main event of the evening. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, Aljamain Sterling taking on Petr Pan. So, okay. There's just a lot to be said about this, but I think so much has been said. It's like, do we even need to say anymore? I mean, this is, to me, the people's main event. People want to see this thing finally get settled and really settle who is the best guy. For me, all people hear, oh, he's making a lot of excuses. You could call it an excuse. At the end of the day, even if it's legitimate, it's still an excuse, right? Yes. But for the champion not to know the rules and to have a layup of a win and kind of just shoot himself in the foot, that's on him. I can't take anything away from that and take any fault in that. You know what I mean? So this is a great opportunity for both of us, for him to shut me up and for me to shut him up and prove that that was really just an off night and he got lucky with that type of performance from myself. So I'm excited. I'm comfortable in all the training that we've done. Again, man, I'm not coming here to collect a check. I'm coming here to take the whole freaking bank. You know what I mean? So I hope everyone is keeping those odds true and make sure you tune into this fight because this is going to be a big one. Petr is a minus 475 favorite, and I am a plus 350 underdog on DraftKings Sportsbook. So there's a big money value once again for the underdog, and hate it or love it, the underdog is going to be on top again, and I'm going to shine, and that's just what we do. I forgot the rest of the lyrics, so I botched that. But you guys get the point. So this is a good one. For me, obviously, removing myself from this, if I'm just looking at this as a spectator, you got Aljamain Sterling, the guy who's had rare submissions, arm triangle from bottom, the Soulyev stretch, creative, throwing unorthodox strikes, spinning attacks, a lot of kicks. He sets up his punches with his kicks, and once he gets the fight to the ground, if you overcommit, he has great reactive takedowns. If you look at the first fight again, you'll see that the fight was actually a lot closer than what the memes were saying, all the jokes and everything. But I'm saying remove all that nonsense and just look at the actual fight and what was landed. And don't try to say what strike was significant versus that didn't count because it didn't move him or whatever. The strikes that landed versus the strike that he landed, and just look at the fight as an overall picture. And you could tell the fight was swinging into the favor of Petr, of course, in the later rounds. But at the same time, we have to realize how close that fight was in terms of control time, the strike count, the one guy who was advancing forward and landing strikes the entire time, whether or not you want to say it did damage or they weren't significant strike, they were pity patter or they were being deflective, ineffective. Did they land on his head or not? Look at the fight from that type of subjective type of vantage point and see if you can see how much closer the fight really, really was. So when you look at it like that, you see Petr, excellent boxing, crisp hands, fast striking. He hits pretty hard. I still think Pedro Munoz hit me harder than he was able to hit me. And that was me just standing right in front of him, almost like a heavy bag. So he's got all these accolades. He's got good freestyle wrestling, good judo, like trips and stuff, not like actual takedowns where he's shooting in to take you down. So when I look at the fight like that, I think the wrestler tends to do better in those type of matchups. You see like Bryce Mitchell versus Edson Barbosa. You see Edson Barbosa versus Kevin Lee and Khabib. Chimaev versus Mershak, who's a jiu-jitsu guy. And then you see Chimaev versus all these other guys who are strikers. So you tend to see where I'm going with this. Usman versus all these other guys that he ran up a check on. And now he's considered in the argument for the greatest welterweight of all time. So I think when you see the history of how well wrestlers tend to do and how well they're able to make adjustments, I think people can understand why I feel no two fights are the same. And why I do think I have a very, very strong chance in winning this fight, and which is why I'm so confident that I'm going to win this fight. I think the work was put in, and I really do think lightning doesn't strike twice where you have a guy show up like that in comparison to all his other performances. What made this guy look like that after one round versus all his other fights? You know what I mean? So I think we're going to see that, and we're going to get a lot of questions answered, and the bantamweight division can finally move forward, and we can finally get some more higher marquee matchups, you know? So we got to figure it out at the top first, and this rematch with myself and Petr is going to be a great one. I think the fans are going to win no matter what. So, again, DraftKings has me at a plus 350 underdog, and Petr from today is a minus 475 favorite. So, guys, make sure you cash that bet in. And for all you guys who streamed the fights illegally that were talking shit to me, make sure you put your money where your mouth is and actually pay for the fight. And don't be a little cheap asshole who could talk shit and don't back it up. Put your money where your mouth is, and let's see who wins this fight. I get pay-per-view points. And so does Petr. I think we all should get pay-per-view points. That anybody that's on a pay-per-view card, we should all get pay-per-view points. But it doesn't really work like that. So we both get pay-per-view points, him being the interim champion, myself being the champion. So I can't wait to finally remove all doubt and show people that, listen, man, I was the higher ranked fighter fighting the highest ranked fighter in the division for a number one contender spot when he was lower ranked, beating lower ranked guys and fighting a guy who just came off of a loss for a vacant world title. So let's not forget what actually happened. This is a whole debacle created by the UFC. If I had been the champion fighting Corey Sandhagen for the belt, this whole situation would be completely different. And then obviously we're still in the same situation, but you know what I mean? No one could be like, oh, he's a fake champ, blah, blah, blah. It's so stupid. It doesn't even make any sense. Then what is he? Then is he a fake champ too? Then we got to figure it out, right? So let's figure it out. Next, we got Gilbert Burns plus 360 underdog taking on Khamzat Chimaev, the freaking Swedish/Chechnyan sensation. Minus 490 favorite. Goddamn. You know what's interesting to me about this one is Burns has done a lot of good things. The way he beat Damian Maia takes him down. He sweeps him to get back up to his feet. Then he knocks him out. Obviously, Damian Maia is a lot older at that time. But he did something to Damian Maia that no one has been able to do. And I don't think he gets enough credit. You know, I'm not saying that Khamzat is not a beast. He's an animal. This guy is different. So I would be foolish to even try to ignore that. I think he has all the tools in the world to win. Khamzat is great. He takes you down. If he gets on your back, he's got good arm bars that we've seen in some of his vlog videos. I do think, though, the experience could be the difference here. But also having the teammates like an Alexander Gustafsson, Jimmy Manuwa, and some of the other UFC vets that he has at his gym over at All-Star in Sweden, he's able to see those type of high-level situations that those guys have been in and kind of get an experience from behind the scenes where he might not make those mistakes, and I don't want to call them mistakes. He might not have those same experiences or have to go through those same experiences because he has those older guys to look up to and seeing how they faltered and see what he could do to kind of make sure that doesn't happen to him, so to speak. But again, it's a fist fight. We're wearing 4-ounce gloves. These guys fight at 170. Gilbert Burns is a freaking Mack truck, and he hits hard. The only thing I will say is, obviously in this title fight, maybe it was the pressure. I do not know. But I think he shot his load early trying to get Usman out of there, and he faded. This is a 3-round fight. We've seen what he did to Damian Maia. We've seen what he did to Tyron Woodley. Boha. If he could come out and keep that pressure, keep that pace for 15 minutes, I think Hamza Chimaev is going to have a lot of questions answered about his toughness, his heart, whether or not he can take a shot. Can he be behind? And if the guy starts to pull away, can he find a way to win? I think this is a good opportunity to find out a lot of things about both these guys. And I think this is a great fight because on paper, both these guys are really grapplers. BJJ and Burns, who fell in love with knocking people out. And then you got Chimaev, who has knocked people out, but he's a great grappler, submits people or ground and pounds the crap out of them. So I will say Chimaev's frame is big, he's long, he's lanky. If he does take down Burns and manages to pick him up the way he did Li Jingliang and then talk to Dana, bring him over, have a full-blown conversation, slam him down and throw the hooks in and then proceed to choke him out, then we got ourselves a rock star on our hands, I just refuse to believe that Burns is going to let that happen to him. But we never know. That's why the fight game in this sport is so crazy because we never know what's going to happen. I'm excited to see this one. I'm almost excited as this one about just being on this card and being able to watch that from behind the scenes and then getting ready for my fight. That's going to pump me up and motivate me to go out there and do something crazy if these guys go out there and have a crazy-ass fight. So it's exciting times, man. This is a huge card, I think. And again, Gilbert Burns, plus 360 underdog. Chimaev is a minus 490 favorite. Another big one we have is Mackenzie Dern taking on Tisha Torres in the UFC strawweight division. I believe. Yep, strawweight. Got that right. Jiu-jitsu specialist Mackenzie Dern taking on Tisha Torres. So this is a big one. Whoever wins this is going to catapult themselves into that title talking conversation. Mackenzie Dern, I know she lost to, who was that? Amanda Ribas? I think a close, no, Marina Rodriguez in a unanimous decision. But it was a good fight. I think they were the main event for that one. But tough one. Good learning lesson for her. I think she got her down and had her back early, but then she couldn't get her down again, and that was pretty much the story of the fight, was the setting up of the takedowns. And I think if she cleaned that up, she could have a lot more success going into this one. Tisha Torres has been a lot better of late, and I think with that, her beating Angela Hill, Sam Hughes, Brianna Fortino, and before that, she was on a 4-fight losing streak. And before that, she was on a 3-fight winning streak. So will history repeat herself and she's going to take the loss, or will she just continue this trek forward and showing that she's new and improved and she's still a badass, Obviously, this fight doesn't define her entire career, but she's 32 years old. She gets a win here. I think it'll be very, very hard to deny somebody on a 4-fight win streak at that point a title shot or a number one contender spot. And I think she would have to be next in line after Carla Esparza. So it's good times for this division, or maybe she fights Zhang Wei Li. We don't know. It's a lot of good momentum on this one. So that's a big marquee matchup for the females strawweight division. And I believe that's our main card, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Kelvin Gastelum is off the card with Imamov. So I think Ian Garry and Darion Weeks is now on the main card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless they bump up Rosenstruck versus Tabora or Olnick versus Jared Vendera. So I'm looking at Typology, and they're usually pretty spot on with the order of the bouts. And I think Ian Garry, Irish superstar right now, 8-0, taking on Darion Weeks, who's 5-1. This is going to be a great fight. Darion Weeks, I don't know much about him. He lost to Barberina, and he did a boxing fight before that. So his UFC debut, he lost to Brian Barberina by decision. Not a bad guy to lose to because he's tough as shit. Who's also right now coming off of a win. And he lost a split decision in his boxing fight. to Tony Woods, whoever that is. So he's doing boxing and he's doing, I don't know. This is going to be a good one. So you got two high-level strikers. Will Garry mix it up and maybe change it up fighting a boxer? Or will he keep it the way he has and keep it standing and look for that knockout that people just love? He knocked out his last guy and Jordan Williams. Williams was looking great, and he just got a little bit overzealous and kind of a little sloppy where he got hit with that counter right hand, and that was the beginning of the end for him. And it's just a fight game. It's a game of inches, and sometimes one little thing that you do wrong where you leave a little bit of a window and a guy sees it, they take it, and that could be your night in the office, and that's it. So this is a good one, though. So Ian Garry is a minus 365 favorite, and Darion Weeks is a plus 280 underdog. So, yeah, I don't know who's going to be, because they're showing Aspen Ladd versus Raquel Pennington, and I don't know, Josina Rosenstruck. So they're showing like Alexei Olenek versus Jared Vandera as the next people on the card. So I don't know. I would much rather Ian Garry be on the main card for obvious reasons. We're getting pay-per-view points. Yay! Let Daddy make some money. Daddy needs some new shoes. Mama needs some new shoes, you know? I wish he was getting pay-per-view points too, man. Damn. Some other notable fights. Vince Purcell taking on Mark Madsen. Mickey Gall taking on Mike Mallet. Big fight. Aspen Ladd taking on Raquel Pennington. Anthony Hernandez taking on Josh. I don't know. Fremd. This Anthony Hernandez kid, I remember him. Who did he fight? Oh, yeah, he fought Randolfo Vieira, and he submitted him, the BJJ specialist. Now, Randolfo had him in some trouble early on. He survived some more, and then came back in that next round. Got him tired. He was super exhausted, managed to find a submission and choke out the BJJ specialist, which I think is better than getting a knockout in a situation like that, because how ironic was that? This guy comes out and pretty much does any submission position that he wants, but he doesn't get the finish, and then you come back in that second round, weather the early storm, and you get the win. So, big fight for him. Big win, I should say. Pieta Rodriguez taking on Kay Hansen. And Julio Arce opening up the card against Daniel Santos. This card is stacked, man, from top to bottom. Julio Arce is a UFC vet at this point. He's had so many fights with the company. And the fact that he is fighting on the first fight of the night, it says a lot how deep this card is. Now, Daniel Santos, I don't know where he's from. Brazil. Okay, so we got that. He's 10-1, 27 years old. He's been fighting at Brave CF, Future FC, ACB, ACA, and ACB. Okay, I guess those are two different organizations. Spinning back kick finish, armbar finish, decision, majority decision, spinning back kick to the body, punches. So this guy throws a lot of shit. Anaconda choke, KO, spinning back elbow. This guy seems like a freaking animal. So I'm looking forward to this one. Julio Arce, we know, is coming off of a knockout loss to Song Yadong. I thought his name was Yadong, but it's Yadong Song. All right. It's getting weird. Before we get this, we keep going, I did want to point out one other thing that I forgot to mention. Stick with me, folks. This is a must. How do you do this? Okay, so there are two titles up for grabs on the stacked UFC 273 fight card. Join the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. New customers can bet $5 on any fighter and get $100 in free bets, win or lose, guaranteed. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still get in on the excitement. Everyone can play for a share of millions in prizes with DraftKings Daily Fantasy MMA contests. Draft your lineup of fighters while staying under the salary cap and rack up points for strikes, takedowns, and more. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want, and that is a big, big win. Call to action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code FUNKMASTER Throw down $5 on UFC 273 and get $100 in free bets no matter what. That's code FUNKMASTER this Saturday at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of UFC. 21 and older, restrictions apply. See show notes for details. So make sure you guys go check out that and check out the disclaimer. So other than that, I want to give you guys my fight pick, sleeper fight of the night before we wrap up. And I do think one fight that's going to be crazy, it's going to be real crazy. I think this fight is going to be so crazy that it's going to be the feature fight of the night. For me, this is well, I can't call it a sleeper fight. So I lied. I was just going to say myself versus PDI. That's the fight of the night right there, baby. Make sure you guys tune in for that. I plan on running through that, man, and dominating performance of the night right there. First round. I'm calling it right now. Sleeper fight of the night. I think Julio Arce versus Daniel Santos is going to be a banger. This guy throws a lot of spinning shit. Julio Arce is a tough dude, and I think this one is going to surprise a lot of people, and it's the first fight of the night. So make sure you guys tune in. Jacksonville, Florida. We're coming in strong. We're coming in hot. Spinning back fists. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys soon in a couple of days. I got to go lose some weight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.